Okay, we're gonna try round two of this. I don't know if the audio is gonna be good, great, bad, decent, existent this time, but buenas. We're trying to do this differently from before. Let's see if this works. Because I haven't done a live stream using these ever, to be honest. So I want to see how it works. Let's see. Alright. So buenas, buenas, buenas. How's everyone doing? Tell me, can you hear me? Can you see me? Does it work now? It should. Let me see. Can I see myself in this live stream? Yes, yes. Excellent. Buenas. Thank goodness. Alright. I don't know what the audio quality on these headphones are. I've honestly never streamed with my headphones, at least not that I can remember. But I could have sworn that I tried it once and someone said, no, it doesn't sound good. So I was like, probably not the best idea. But yeah, thank goodness I found a solution. So, buenas. Welcome to today's Ecuador News live stream. I am your host, Ace, GM Ace. Thank you for making it here today. Hello to Kathy and the dogs. Thank you for being patient. Steve, hello Steve M. 10 by, what's up? And everyone else who is in the stream, please leave a comment, say hi, buenas. Thank you for your patience. So yeah, let's move into what we're going to talk about today. Got a few different things for you. First of all, to start, we've got actually a good story. Typically, I feel like these streams, in general, the news is always just so negative, but we're starting off positive. So let's take a look at that. Chatting with info. Let me know how you're doing, by the way, how your weekend has been. I think, we'll leave separate topics for later because I did want to talk about the weather, but we'll leave that for later. So let's open up the scene. The first story we have today, we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics rookie, straight out of Ecuador, gets honored by Ecuador for making history. So, let's look at the story. Let me see how it looks over here. Yeah, it's visible. I don't know if it's visible perfectly, but it's visible. Let's go down a little bit more over here so you can see a little bit more. So many ads. Alright, so when RJ Lewis Jr. steps onto an NBA court for his debut, he'll also make history as the first Ecuadorian ever in the league. The first Ecuadorian ever in the league. So ahead of his rookie season with the Celtics, Lewis was honored by Ecuador President Daniel Noboa recently for his achievement. Lewis's mother was born in Ecuador while his father was born in the Dominican Republic. Now, of course, I have my thoughts. I have some things that I want to say in regards to that. I'm going to remove this so that doesn't go slow. So, I don't know how many people follow me outside of YouTube, but on Instagram, I do post a lot of things related to my daily life, what I eat, what I do for physical activities. In general, I try to keep everyone up to date so that you know that I'm alive. But one of the things that I really do talk about a lot is my basketball Saturdays. And every Saturday I'll post a picture of the basketball court, of me playing basketball, what exercises I did. In fact, if you go check my Instagram right now, you'll notice there's a picture of me and the the training info, because I always log that on my watch to show the routine, how much I'm doing, how much time that I spent playing. And yeah, so hearing this, having read this, having learned about uh, that we're making history here. An Ecuadorian playing United States basketball in the NBA and everything. It's like it's really motivating. Um, it's really cool because it's not something I expected. I always had this dream of being an American football player also. So it's like I've always wanted to play in the league. I've always wanted to play American football, to meet the players, to see what it's like. Um, that's why over here when we were playing football, it was like really cool for me. And also, it's just really cool to see someone from here in the league, especially considering there's not always a lot of talk about Ecuadorians reaching such heights. Over here, it's celebrated a lot, obviously. For example, I had written this down. There was Nacy Patricia de Jones Barrera, who was the Olympic weightlifting champion, who was the first Ecuadorian woman to win an Olympic medal. And then there's also Richard Carapaz, who had won the gold medal in cycling. So hearing all of these Ecuadorians reaching these achievements, reaching these heights, it's really motivating, not just for me. Like, for me, it might be like, it's cool, like I like to see it, and I'm an athlete, so it's really awesome. But like for people who are training to be athletes, the kids, especially since I always think about my students, because I always hope that they take sports into consideration. It doesn't have to be their life, but for the ones who do make it their life, I want them to know that there is, a future in training and being recognized for what you do. I mean, you don't have to hit the Olympic stage. If you do, awesome, like that's amazing. But to see that there's people who are Ecuadorian who can make it to that stage even with the difficulties, it's super awesome. And for people who don't know what I'm talking about when I refer to the difficulties, a lot of people, they have to travel. Like I remember when I was in the federation, we would get kind of an allowance so that we could travel by bus and go to the federation. Well, the people who were more competitive and who were like constantly training, because you can just go for sport. And I always tell kids in general and everyone who I talk to, like it's always good to do some physical activity. 1 minute is more than zero. So if you can do a minute, yeah, that's an exaggeration of small amount of time, but if you can do 10 minutes a day, you're doing more activity than if you were doing no activity, like just walking. Maybe like walking does count as activity, but I like to see more activity that strains you, that makes you do more and like puts more effort on your legs and on your body in general. But yeah, that's just something that I thought was really cool. Some good news to start off today's stream. I don't know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about Ecuadorians reaching such heights? You should definitely check out. I think it was, I don't know if Daniel Noboa shared it, but I know I saw a video that was on Instagram when he was getting the medal and like, hey, I'm the first Ecuadorian basketball player to be in the NBA, and I thought that was really cool. Like the video was really cool. It was really catchy. Okay, so let's continue with the next story. Let me, Ooh, the next story is not a good one. The next story is the opposite of good. So let's open that one up. Let me see what that looks like over here. Okay, we can see it. Sometimes I'm concerned that we're not going to be able to see the what's happening on the stream, because it's just it's been a while since I've done this setup. Last week we had to ditch this setup because no, not last week, 2 weeks ago we had to ditch this setup because it had an issue. The computer that I was using just couldn't handle it. It's like, no, might as well have been trying to stream on a potato chip because that computer was dying. Even this one, like, I can hear it like spinning up really fast. But anyways, let's look at the news. So, Ecuador considers hosting US deportees as Washington eyes military base return. So let's read this. Ecuador and the United States are negotiating an unprecedented immigration agreement that would allow the South American nation to host deported migrants from third countries, coinciding with Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Quito this week. This was when, obviously, before Marco Rubio had visited. We do have some news related to his visit, which is later on, so stay tuned for that. Foreign Minister Gabriela Summerfield confirmed that Washington has requested Ecuador accept a small group of migrants as refugees, though she stipulated that the program would differ significantly from El Salvador's current arrangement, which includes receiving criminal deportees. Deportees. I don't know why I say deportees. It will be a limited program that only addresses refugees of certain nationalities who have no criminal record and who meet certain criteria, such as good health, Summerfield stated. The proposed framework includes strict parameters: maximum admission of 300 people annually, selection limited to unspecified nationalities, exclusion of individuals with criminal records, and health requirements. Okay, so going into my thoughts, because I have a lot of thoughts. Actually, if you don't know the format of this stream, if this is your first time joining another stream, I take an article of the many articles that I see. I'll look through it, I'll read it, I'll formulate some thoughts. I even have them written down. And for this one, I have a lot written down. So let's begin. Overall, I have been wanting to talk about the situation with the immigrant deportations situation for a while. I've seen a lot of things, especially since I watch a lot of Philip DeFranco. I don't know if anyone here watches the Philip DeFranco show. Love it. That's like my source of mainly United States news, but it's also my source of even worldwide news, because he sometimes covers topics from different parts of the world. But of course, right now there's a lot of heavy emphasis on the States, especially considering Donald Trump, President Trump's his involvement, what he's been doing. It even, of course, has affected us. We're even going to talk about the tariffs today, but specifically for Ecuador. So basically, I've been wanting to talk about this, and I even, as a note, I put, I made an interview. I interviewed some people. I don't know if anyone saw that video on my channel about the situation with dating foreigners, and that has nothing to do with the topic, but what I asked them afterward does. Because after we finished the interview, I decided to ask each one. I actually asked them all. Like I asked each one, hey, what do you think about the situation with the deportations? What are your thoughts? Do you think it's fair? Tell me what comes to mind when you hear about this. And the majority, literally 99%, because only one person was for the deportations, and like they thought it was a good plan. It was good. And everyone else was like, no, it's not fair. How's it possible? They're deporting people who they don't even know if they're illegally there. The treatment of the people who are being deported is just not adequate as well, especially considering some of them are being sent to El Salvadorian prisons, where, if anyone knows what the situation in El Salvador is, while it might be great to hear that criminals are going there, if a friend or loved one of yours were to go to that jail and you know they're not a criminal, but they just happen to be Latino, then you'd be really upset. I remember hearing a lot of stories from Philip DeFranco himself, like people who are being detained who are like the sweetest people in the world, ice cream vendors who have nothing to do with cartels or drugs or gangs, and they're just being detained because they look like immigrants. I don't want to call in the racist card, but like that's kind of feel that way. So there was one person who of course said like, yeah, the deportations are good. They were in favor of them because of the state of the United States. And this goes into a separate conversation of the people who I know who visit the States. For anyone who's watching this from the States, hello, buenas, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. But people who I know who have traveled to the States have been telling me about how the situation is like over there right now, which is I mean, it's kind of surprising considering what I remember of the States to hear what people tell me about the States, especially specifically cities like New York, where they say that walking in New York is like walking in a mercado area over here, the market area over here. It's super dirty. It looks like things have not been taken care of. And to add to it, which you don't see over here, tons of people like out on the street who are homeless. And I just don't remember the image of the States being like that. We talk a lot on this channel. A lot of people, I get a lot of comments. Well, before, now it's a little bit less, but I got a lot of comments. People talking about how, oh, Ecuador used to be the best place to live. Ecuador was so safe like 5 years ago or more, like obviously. But it's like, it's changed. And that's the same way I feel about what I hear about the United States. Like when people tell me, I'm like, no, but I remember the States. It was super clean, super great, best place to visit. But now people are actually reconsidering the thought of visiting. That kind of goes into my thought process of, well, my conversation about the tariffs, which we're going to look at in a bit. But anyways, just to finish this article specifically, and Ecuador receiving immigrants, I think, them receiving immigrants is good, especially if it's not criminal immigrants, because I don't think we have an appropriate place to place them. Considering we've had situations with the jails being like second house for criminals, I don't think it's a great place to put foreign criminals into. Establishing these kinds of networking opportunities between criminals does not seem good. But yeah, I don't like the situation with the deportations, especially more so on the people who are illegally there and doing things, wrong. Like, first let me go into the whole ICE agent situation, how like it's really bad, where you see ICE agents just coming up and swooping people off the streets, and it's like you see them and you think of it's the typical kidnapping scenario. Random person, ski mask, doesn't want to give you information. They'll tell you they're an ICE agent, but it might as well be a random kidnapper who's just, hey, I'm wearing a mask, I have a shirt that has like ICE on it, so if I take someone, they're gonna assume it's a detention from ICE, when it might not be. It could just be literally a kidnapping attempt. I'm wondering if that's happened yet in the States. I could completely see it happening. Over here, I could completely see it happening, where people would try to take advantage of such a situation where if you're just walking out on the street and you're a normal person and you know what the situation is, and someone comes up to you and they start to take you away, you would assume, okay, this is a nice agent, there's nothing I can do. You'd fight back, of course, be like, hey, I'm legally here. There are people who are legally there and who are being detained. But they'll be like, no, we're detaining you anyways. And since people know that that's how ICE works, it's like they could believe like this is an actual situation. And that's how kidnappings could start. Just to begin with kidnappings. Who knows how much more terrible things could happen if such a thing is allowed to continue happening in the way that it is. And it's especially terrible because I have this, I remember hearing it again, like on Philip DeFranco show, where he mentioned how there are ICE agents who actually wait outside of courts where there are immigration hearings. So they're just like waiting for people who are literally looking for the opportunity to legally immigrate. And if they don't get accepted in that moment, or if like everything doesn't go through the way that they want it to, outside there's an ICE agent or ICE agents waiting to just take you away. Like come on, man. That's just wrong. It feels terrible. If I were in that position, I would feel betrayed by the system, betrayed by the country. Land of the brave, home of the free, land of the free. I don't know. I don't know why I'm even mixing that up, but it's like it would feel like a betrayal of my trust. Like I'm there, doing things right, trying to do things right, and I'm treated like someone who's trying to do things wrong. And it was something else that I know a lot of people probably aren't going to agree with, but there's a part of it that people are going to agree with, of course. So the point where I, am in favor of the detentions of immigrants is the obvious one. Like, there are obviously people who are in the States doing bad things, like they're criminals. There are people there who are there illegally, and they have ill intentions, they're not doing things right. I don't even think they contribute to the system. So deporting those people, yeah, of course, why wouldn't you? But then there's the opposite side of the spectrum. Like, there are people who are just going to the States to look for opportunities, immigrants who maybe they had to get into the States illegally. And I know that's where everyone's going to disagree. No, you should get into the States legally. I know, obviously. But the system is so messed up that even when you're trying to get in legally, there's so many buts that it's tough. I know a lot of cases. That's why we always talk about here with people who first time visitors of the States. We always talk about, like, they ask me, like, oh, how's the process? Like, when you go to get your visa, how do you do it? I'm like, I mean, you just go. You tell them the truth. And we all speculate so many things over here. Like, some people say, for the people in the consulate to, like, let you go to the States, you have to have a lot of money. They say you have to have a lot of money. You have to have a job, like a stable job, so that they don't think that you're going over there to work or to make money. And I don't know. There's got to be, like, a logical reason for you to go that's not, like, work related. Because if you go, like, supposedly to, like, if you say something about, like, oh, I'm going there because we need money, we're gonna work, then they're not gonna accept you. They're not gonna give you the visa. Makes sense, of course. So, but a lot of the times there are people who go with tons of money, or people who go to, like, get their visa, and they're rejected. People who go with a stable job, like, there's no way you're quitting that job over here because it's hard to get, and they still get rejected. So people get mad. People get, like, upset. Like, how do I get into the States then? Like, what's the situation? Like, why aren't they letting us in when we just want to go visit? And it becomes a fear that is transmitted to people who want to go there legally, and then they just, like, okay, if I can't get in legally, I'm going to get in illegally. And then people find ways to get into the States. You're going to have to tell me what ways those are, but and they're good people. There's good people who just want to go to the States, make some money to be able to maintain their families over here, because the situation over here is tough. So it's like, for those people, I kind of feel like there should be a process that makes it easier for people to get into the States if they're trying to contribute positively to the States. Like, there's so many people in the States who are actual born and raised citizens who are criminals, who are bad people, who do bad things, and they're allowed to stay. But you take a person who's been over there, yes, they've been over there illegally, but, like, for 5 or more years, and you try to remove them from the States when all they've done their whole time there is make the States better, like, contribute to making things better, doing jobs that I'm pretty sure people who are in the States themselves, like, who live in the States themselves, who are born and raised, don't want to do. But you want to deport those people. I don't know, it feels kind of messed up. Like, I'm not going to say it's right, because people, when they come to Ecuador, like, in that same way, you come here legally, and people, they want you to come here legally. But it's like, over here, people who visit, I think the mentality is different. People who come to visit over here, like, even if they're looking to get a better opportunity from life, they're coming with a better opportunity than people who are actually living here right now, who are currently, like, in the state of living. Like, if suppose I were to go to the States because I needed work, and, I go over there illegally, like, quote unquote, it would make more sense, because I'm going from a $300 salary, $400 salary, $500 salary, to something that's like $1,000. And, like, if I find a cheap place to live cheap, or if I find a way to live over there without having to pay that much in rent or something, like, I feel like it would be more beneficial to do that than to stay over here with my $300 to $400 to $500 salary. On the other hand, someone coming from the States over here is looking for an escape from how expensive everything is over there, because they're just tired of that. So they come over here, even if their minimum wage, the minimum they're earning from retirement or from their job that they're doing is $1,000, that's still double of whatever I'm earning right now. So it's like, they have a much better shot of making it over here than even I have of going over there and trying to make it over there. So I don't know. Maybe it's a tough conversation for people to have because no one wants to associate, I guess, travel and doing things illegally to something good, because it's not. Like it's still illegal. It's illegal. It says it's in the word. But like if someone goes to the States illegally to like try to promote good things in the States, like they work hard, they, I don't know, maybe they're in agriculture, they're painting houses, or we can go into the stereotypes, they're mowing lawns, they're doing work that people literally don't want to do. Is that a reason to deport them? Like obviously, once again, the person who is going to the States to sell drugs, to kidnap, or I don't know, to do bad things, like yeah, get rid of those people. But to put everyone in the same bucket just doesn't seem right to me. 10. That's called due process. They came to the country illegally and knew they were in the country illegally. They would not be in that position if they entered the country legally to begin with. Try it in any other country and see what happens. I agree with that. I wish the due process were so much easier. And I know I wrote that somewhere over here. Just what I write versus what I say exactly is not going to come out the same. But it's like obviously everyone wants to do due process to do things right. Like I find it, I think the skew between people who want to do things wrong is a lot less than the people who want to do things right. But it's so hard to do things right when, like I said, you go to get your visa and they don't want to give it to you. Like you go there and it's not like you go to get your visa and it's free. Every time you go, you have to spend $200 to $300. I think it was $200, but I think it's $200 to $300. But let's just assume it's $200. If my salary is $300 to $500, that's literally almost half of my salary or my whole salary, just to see if they say yes. And imagine they say no. I'm trying to do things right, and they say no. Like people don't have the means to keep doing that or trying that. It's really tough. Like I try to have compassion for the people over here who try to do that because I know it's tough. Daniel, hello. How's it going? Hola, buenas. 10, to immigrate to Ecuador, you need both state level and federal level criminal background check. Additionally, you need enough money to support yourself. You can't just come and depend on the government or work illegally. Yes, I remember because I talked to my good buddy Don about that. And everyone who comes to retire, they talk about how you have to actually have like a minimum of earnings, like if you're retiring and coming to live in Ecuador. Like I think if it's just for visit, those requirements aren't needed. But if you're coming to retire, yeah, I have heard that you need to be earning a certain amount in order to live here permanently. So it's like that's where like I really do think it's not fair that there's a lot of people who are just illegally going to the States, obviously. And I'm never going to be 100% in favor of it because I know that there's a lot of people who are going there and doing bad things. Well, not a lot of people, but there are people. But it's like, if we talk about the majority and if we talk about like making the process easier, why not just make the process easier then? Like, why not make it like so that, like, why not even just make it like a streamlined thing where, okay, we want people to come to the States. So we're gonna leave space for 1,000 Ecuadorians who want to come, but if you come, you have to work in this area of work for, I don't know, let's just say like 3 to 5 years. And if you complete that time, you work, you contribute to the States, we make you official citizens. Why not? Like, why not make it more streamlined? So that way it's like, you're literally giving the Ecuadorians the opportunity to do the thing that they want. They want to go work. They want to make money so that they can support their families. But the process typically isn't like that. It's always a lot more complicated, and it's just unfortunate because I feel like if there were a mutual understanding and a way to make it easier, like everything would just flow. Or maybe I'm just being too naive about it. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Kathy, we desperately need immigrants for the labor force. The vast majority contribute a lot to this country. I would not recommend visiting here, particularly Florida, for any reason. The irony is that everyone goes to visit Florida. Well, if it's not Florida, most people go to New York. Some people go to California. Florida, of course, the theme parks. I know that if I were to go back, it would be to visit my friends, and probably to go to one of the new theme parks. I have not visited the world of Harry Potter. I would love to go visit Harry Potter. I have not visited the new Mario Land. I think it's already available in the States. Correct me if I'm wrong. Of course, I could go to Japan and guarantee it, but like I could go, as if I had the funds for that. But it's like, there's things that I want to see that are in the States that are very much separated from the reality of the States, because like I said, there's people that I know who go and they have this image of like the States being like what I imagine it, super clean, super nice, just like it's first world. But they crash, not walk into, they crash into the reality of places like New York, as the example that I'm gonna keep putting out, because that's the one that mainly they tell me like it's like going to a mercado here, or a dirty part of the city over here, and it's so weird for me to hear that, because I lived in the States, so it's like, what happened? But anyways, that's that story. What are your thoughts? I do want to, I guess, tie that into the tariff story that I have over here. Just a quick overview of what the tariffs are looking like in Ecuador right now. So let's open that up. Let's see. Where was the read more section? Reload. Reload. Refresh. Weird. Well, basically Ecuador has been assigned 15% tariff rate on its exports to the United States. This is a significant increase from the initial 10% tariff that was imposed in April 2025. Okay, there's the read more. Which itself was an escalation from previous trade conditions. The new rate is set to go into effect in a few days. I think it already has gone into effect, following an exclusive order signed on July 31st. Negotiation status. Ecuador has been in a crucial round of negotiations with the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative to eliminate the initial 10% tariff. However, unlike some other countries like Mexico and the European Union that secured a reduction or a temporary reprieve, Ecuador was not able to secure a deal to avoid the increased trade. So, let's look at the impacted sectors. The new 15% tariff is a major concern for Ecuador's key export sectors. These include seafood, agriculture, and other products, including fruits, vegetables, and canned goods. So, like I said, this goes into a separate conversation that I wanted to have in regards to buying things, because I kind of feel like eventually with the increased tariffs and with tariffs in general, I can imagine a situation where the things that we buy from the States become more expensive. I don't know, it just feels like everything is like linked together, and eventually just things are going to start to get more expensive over here. So it's like I don't know if anyone who was here maybe 2 weeks ago, you heard the conversation about the 4x4, 2x2, and the whole situation with the importing things. There's that whole tax, the extra $20 you have to pay for the things that you bring into the country, for every container that's more than that's more than 4 kilos, which is basically around 8 pounds, and is worth more than $400. So you have to pay, and even for things that are small, it's basically a pain in the butt. You buy a $5 thing and you have to pay like $25 for it. Like who would do that? At that point, you might as well just buy a whole bunch of things and pay the $20 for the whole bunch of things, not just one thing. But a lot of people, I have a friend, we talked about how, like, why not just buy national things? Even I thought about it. I'm like, okay, so I'll just start buying national things. But there are so few national things that are, like, worth it that it's kind of disappointing to buy national things here. I'm going to tell the story that I talk about a lot. I've told it probably more than once. But my best friend, one of my friends, he is like always been buying. He always used to buy things here. Like he would go to the marketplaces, to like these super cheap places that sell shirts for like what, $5, $10, clothing that's like super cheap. And he would always buy something new like every month or 2 months because it was bad quality. Like it would damage, it would go bad like basically in no time. Recently, let's just say around these last 5 years, because I know it started like during the pandemic or a little bit before the pandemic, he started to buy name brand clothing. For example, one of his favorites now to buy is like Under Armour. And it's like, for him, it's been like a game changer because ever since he started buying more name brand expensive clothing, like it lasts him longer. He says it's better quality, it feels better, and he hasn't had to go out to buy clothing every other month. So it's like what he was spending before, basically in buying random clothing, cost him more than just buying a good shirt that lasts him years. Like I have clothing that lasts me years because it's good clothing from good brands. But that's just the way it is. Like that's why people feel unmotivated to buy things here. Not to mention that there are things that you just can't buy here. But there are some brands I did want to mention. That's why I'm actually wearing one right now. This shirt is from Pinto. Pinto is a brand, very Ecuadorian. You can buy clothing from their stores here. They sell shirts, they sell jackets, long sleeve shirts, they sell boxers, undergarments. They sell a lot of things. And personally, it's been a really good brand for me. I've used it. The complaint that I have is that it shrinks. I don't know if it's still shrinking, but this shirt is a Pinto shirt. It's really nice. It feels good. But I know it's shrunk. It definitely has shrunk a little bit. But other than that, it's a great shirt. I really like it. Another brand, it's not Ecuadorian, but it's like the Ecuadorian branch, is Lee. That's where I like to buy pants and shorts. So those are the two places that I can like vouch for in terms of they sell good things. Not expensive prices. Like the pants are always going to be expensive. But in terms of shirts, like they always have good deals. So Pinto, Ecuador, and Lee are my recommendations. But it's like I feel less motivated to buy things in general aside from these in the country because it just doesn't feel like it's the best quality. And like my good friend Don has mentioned before, sometimes it's hard to get returns on certain things. Like if you buy them in a supermarket, yeah, for sure. But if you go to a market, like when you go to buy something in the Mercado or something like that, or in the downtown area, in el centro, if you try to buy it, you buy like, let's just say a pair of socks and who knows, you have that luck where they just break the next day. Like you might find it hard to go get like a return on that. It's like, no, you bought them already. Like, and what were you expecting from $5 socks, basically? I don't think they're gonna say it like that, but it's gonna be kind of tough for you to get a return on something that you bought over here in a marketplace, especially. So yeah, let's go into the comments. Carlos Gomez de la Cruz, hello Carlos. Hola, los migrantes tienen el olor de su partida y los retos de su inserción social y económica. Tienen que respetar la cultura y los valores del país que les recibe y trabajar duro. Pero los migrantes, yes, whenever someone goes to a different country, at least from what I hear, most people that I know, my friends and family who have traveled to the States to live, it's like they adapt. and I've told them that before. Like, it's so complicated. Yeah, I want to grab this. It's so complicated to go to, like, the States and think that you're going to be the same person you're over here. It can't happen that way. You can't do the same things you do over here in the States So people like become so much more respectful to the rules of the road, and things become like they basically have to adapt that culture. Uh, Over here, people who come over here, I mean, if you seclude yourself, you just kind of like keep your culture. But it sounds so lonely whenever I hear people who come to Ecuador and they just don't interact. You miss out on so much when you don't interact with the locals. But yeah, Tenbai, the tariffs are misunderstood. Tariffs work if they are used on unlimited number of countries with truly unfair trade policies. Well, yeah, I mean, if the country is being unfair, then tariff the life out of them. Carlos, he vivido 18 años en Ecuador y soy español. Gran país. Si podemos profundizar en temas económicos y sociales, ready to go. Económicos y sociales. Whatever you wanna say, let me know. Leave it in the chat. We will hear you. But yeah, there's a lot of things that when you come from Ecuador and you go to the States, like you have to adapt to things that are the way things are over there. Over here, I know Don has had like that bad experience with returns, especially like I said, he tried to return something once before and it didn't work, so I think they gave him like store credit at the place that he went, but that was in a shopping center, in the mall. But like when you go to the mercado, I think it's a little bit more complex, at least from the experiences that I've heard of. But yeah, that's the situation with the tariffs. My thoughts, I'm not sure if things are going to go in the direction where we get what are going to be things, like I said, things are going to be more expensive. I hope they don't, but if they do, we're going to have to be prepared for that. Okay, so moving on to the next topic. I think it's the one that I have open over here, but just to be sure. No, it's related, but it's not the same one. The U.S. designates 2 more gangs in Latin America as foreign terrorist groups. It's basically the same thing. Honestly, this was something that had to happen a long time ago, to be real. I feel like with the situation, how we feel sometimes with these gangs that are just like doing whatever they want in Ecuador, like having them actually considered criminals, like terrorists, is like the next level that we needed to have them like maybe deter them from doing bad things. So anyways, the United States is designating 2 Ecuadorian gangs as foreign terrorist organizations, marking the Trump administration's latest step to target criminal cartels in Latin America. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio made the announcement Thursday while in Ecuador as part of a trip to Latin America overshadowed by an American military strike against a similarly designated gang, Venezuela's Tren de Aragua. That attack has raised concerns in the region about what may follow as President Donald Trump's government pledges to step up military activity to combat drug trafficking and illegal migration. Okay, so the first thing we should talk about probably is the situation with how the U.S. bombed that ship. I thought it was surprising in a way to hear that the United States would take such direct and immediate action. Typically, I feel like the States is that kind of place that, you know, let's make sure first and then let's do this. But seeing what they did made me think that this was kind of like a warning, like to deter people from doing the same thing, like from even considering like going on a boat, like even like if you're trying to smuggle yourself illegally into the States, like if you see that the States is bombing ships, you're like, I'm not gonna do that. So I feel like it's kind of a deterrent for people to not try to use that means of entering the country. Like if you want to get into the country, do it legally or go over the newly painted wall that'll burn your hands if you try to climb it now. Of course, there's gloves, so you know you could use gloves, but you shouldn't be trying to get into the states illegally in the first place. But the point is that, like, I'm pretty sure that this was kind of like to stop people from being permissive, to stop things from being so lax, and to show that there are actual consequences for the actions that you take. Now, do I completely agree with what happened? Like, I can't be like super happy about like what happened, because what if it was just, let's just assume it was a fishing boat, like just people fishing, like there's no justification in that case for what happened. Like we're just saying, like, just to assume, like it could have actually been terrorist organization, people selling drugs, people smuggling people. Still would be terrible to kill them in that sense, but it's like this has to be a deterrent, because if it's not for deterrent reasons, I kind of feel like there's going to be a lot of people who are upset. Like, there's already people who are paranoid about what's happening. Like, is the states going to flex their power and like make everyone bend to their will? Like, if it starts with sinking ships that might be terrorist ships, like, where does it end? Like, where are we gonna? Well, I mean, it didn't start there. Technically, it started with people getting chained and escorted out of the states, in some terrible things that I've seen ICE themselves post. But like, where does it end? Like, if that's where it begins, like, what's next? What's gonna come after that, basically? Honestly, like, just a thought that I had, and I wrote it down. Like, the states themselves, we know the states has a lot of military power. I kind of wonder, like, if the states decided to do something, like take severe action against Latin American countries, can Latin American countries fight back against the states? Like, I thought about that when, like, I wrote it down here. Like, what Latin American country would truly be able to retaliate against the United States? I don't know. It feels kind of like, of course, in commerce, of course, you could say that, okay, we have things to export that they're going to want to import, and that could be our fight. But, like, in terms of firepower, I don't know. It feels like, who's going to say no? Or who's going to say, please, President, stop attacking us? Like, we're going to say it, but, like, the president is going to be like, no. And what are we going to do to, like, fight back against that? Like, do we have the firepower in order to defend ourselves against the United States firepower, is what I'm trying to say, basically. Was that U.S. missile strike on a Venezuelan boat real? Yes. There was news about it. And, like, unless it's fake news, but the news that I've seen here is that, yes, it was done. I don't know if it's in this article. Like, they mention it here, but I don't remember if there was an article that I had where they mentioned more about it. Like, the other article that I have open, the U.S. designates two Ecuadorian criminal groups as foreign terrorist groups. Just basically, once again, going into the situation of the two groups, Los Lobos and Los Choneros, very real terrorist groups here in, well, now they're terrorist groups here in Ecuador, that really make living here not impossible, because like I've mentioned before, if you're not in like drug situations, or if you're not like involved with gangs, you're not in that kind of situation. But having too much power does also put you on their radar. So, like, if you're one of those people with a lot of money and you're like flashing it, like, oh hey, I'm the richest guy here, like, yeah, they're probably gonna target you. So, once again, a good reason to live a humble life in Ecuador, but not a deterrent for you to not live in Ecuador. Reminder, I'm not telling people not to live here. I do want people to live here because Ecuador is still an amazing country. It's just you've got to be careful of how you flash what you have. But yeah, basically, those are the stories that I mainly wanted to cover. And I want to know what your thoughts are. So I'll be reading your comments here in the chat. Temba Yepers blew them up. Indeed they did. Let's see here, Daniel. This is why Venezuela is on a level 5 do not travel list, especially for U.S. citizens, as you could be unlawfully detained. It could take months, even years, for a trial. I don't remember what the situation exactly is in Venezuela right now, but I wouldn't put it past Venezuela to see someone from the States and, oh, you guys are bombing our ships. Oh, you guys see us as a criminal threat, especially let's call him the president of Venezuela. He's definitely not happy with how they have him designated in different parts of the world, over here included. So he's definitely not going to be very well receiving people who aren't Venezuelan citizens, especially if they're from a country that's looking at him like the worst thing ever. But it's unfortunate because I kind of feel like that would kill tourism to a place like Venezuela. Not that I know a lot of people who are dying to go, considering the circumstances, how the situation is over there, but for the people who do want to visit, it's like, it's a deterrent. It makes you feel like maybe you shouldn't visit because you never know what could happen. So I'm going to put the chatting scene. Cappy, very real, very quick. So obviously, POTUS has given okay ahead of time. So the situation with everything that's been happening, with the States, the intervention with Ecuador, like, I just wanted to go on a little bit of a tangent there and talk about it a little bit. A lot of people, at least the people who support Daniel Noboa, a lot of people are really happy with how things are happening. I saw when there was a designation of the criminal groups, the gangs, as terrorist groups, like, everyone was celebrating. Like, there were so many people who were like, yeah, that's my president, that's how it should be done. Because I'm telling you, people are tired of these gangs, like, doing and undoing, haciendo y deshaciendo, as they please. So it's definitely a good course of action. I just don't know, like I said before, like, where it's gonna stop. Like, okay, we're allowing intervention in our country. We're pretty much like permitting a lot of things, but, like, why can't there be, like, a mutual kind of understanding? Like, let's not go into it too far. Like, oh, like, let us go into the States. No, but, like, at least drop tariffs to 10%. Like I know, I'm pretty sure the argument's gonna be like, yeah, but we're helping you with a problem that you have. Yeah, but it kind of feels like very one-sided. I don't know if that's the right way to express it, or if anyone understands, like, if you understand what I'm trying to say, but it kind of feels one-sided, in my opinion. Daniel, also Ace, what are your thoughts on the alleged human rights abuses by the Secot inmates from El Salvador? Ooh, that's a tough one. Mainly because once again, we go into the situation with determining who is a criminal and who is not a criminal. If people's only crime is being exported, of being deported into El Salvador, is because they are illegally living in the States, but they've been contributing members of positive things in the States. Like, if they're in El Salvador for that reason, it kind of feels like them suffering the same kind of treatment in El Salvador as a gang member, as someone who's killed someone, as someone who's stolen from people, who's violated people's rights. Like, it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel like an equal punishment. Now, if the rule in El Salvador is for everyone to be punished in the same way, because that would be like a way to deter them from committing crimes, then it's still kind of like really messed up, because not everyone is the same kind of criminal. To put it to you in another way, like, if you were sent to jail, assume, for throwing a piece of trash on the floor, do you deserve the same punishment as the person who took a life? Probably not. But in El Salvador, if they're being treated the same way, then it's kind of like, it's really not fair. So it's really, really bad. So the problem with human rights, and this is the conversation that I think everyone in Ecuador has been having for the past few years, or for as long as I can remember at this point, is that our rights as people, like human beings, are being violated. Like every time you hear about someone being shot up in a restaurant, and like, yeah, the person who got shot up was a person related with like gangs, with crime, but what about the stray bullet that hit the parent of two little girls, let's just assume, or the mom who had a son waiting for her at home? Is that fair? No. So these criminals are violating the rights of ordinary citizens who don't deserve it. Like, so when you send them to a place that's taking away their rights, is that not equivalent exchange? If they don't respect the rights of others, why should their rights be respected? At the same time, I want to believe that there are people who have just been led into this lifestyle because, I don't know, it was more convenient for them. I don't know. Maybe they had a tough life. But that's like giving them excuses. And I also don't think that's fair. If anything, if there were a way to avoid the crime in the first place, like better, like we always talk about this, like better education, dealing with people's mental health, you know, finding a way to make it so that people don't get into this situation in the first place, like that would be the ideal. That would be the way that we could avoid this from happening and even having this conversation. But the world isn't perfect. The world is unfortunately not perfect. In its imperfection, it is perfect, but it's not perfect. And there's just no way to resolve all the problems. And I don't know, I'm going to go into a little bit of a conspiracy theory. I kind of feel like there are people who don't want the problems in the world to be solved, because without problems, you can't sell people a solution. So it's like, it kind of feels like that's why there's no cure for certain diseases. And every time we hear about the conversation of someone finding a way to power vehicles without having to rely on gasoline or oil or whatever, it's like those people go missing. And you have to remind everyone that person was not suicidal. Because it's like it's so obvious that there's someone trying to stop people from making progress because it's going to hurt their bottom line. But yeah, human rights, I'm going to put myself in the position of saying, if you don't respect other people's human rights, then you don't deserve human rights either. That's my thought on that. Because I'm tired of defending people who kill people. Like, it's not that I defend them, but I'm tired of giving like an argument where we can find a solution for them. If anything, the people who don't have salvation right now, people who have already done the crime, there's nothing we can do for them. But let's try to avoid the future generations having these similar problems. Let's get kids good education. Let's make it so that kids like learn about, you know, they have financial education, so that way they can survive in the real world. Let's work on mental health for the kids who can still be saved, because they're the future. The people who eliminated their future, if they have salvation, then I hope they find it. But if not, then that's just the way things are. At least right now, there's not much that we can do about that. Tenbai, all I know is I'm fully in love with your country. I love the cultural aspects, and there are many parts that are more free than here. Tenbai, if you're not in Ecuador, from what I can read, from what my reading comprehension says, you're still in the States, or in a different part that's not Ecuador, but if you ever come, you're definitely going to love it. You're going to be super happy. Let's see here. Tenbai, I also have an attorney there and a shipping expediter. I know roughly where I'll be living and intend on prayerfully integrating with primarily indigenous society. Perfect. You're gonna have a great time. I'm sure of that. If you already visualize that idea, then you're good. I love when people are planning things, like, and they have everything planned. Take Don Shader's only advice, which is make sure to do your exploratory trip. But other than that, like, if you're already planning ahead and you've got things organized, that's great. I like it when people plan. Carlos, Daniel, cuando en cada cuadra te matan, te extorsionan y te secuestran, los ciudadanos tienen más derechos que los criminales. Bukele, después de esto, debe cuidar de la educación e inserción económica. So basically, the conversation, like I said, when you're always being like extorted, when you're being kidnapped, or people you know are being kidnapped, and the citizens, they don't have the same rights as the criminals, or like they're treated the same, like that's where you start to see, like, you start to lose your empathy for these criminals. But yeah, definitely Bukele should focus on education. And I actually saw something about that. But first, Magnus, how's it going? Hope everything is well. Hello from Ecuador. Buenas. But yeah, I saw that Bukele recently has implemented something in schools. This was something I saw on the news. And in schools, like, they're teaching kids, like, that, I don't know what happens as a consequence if they don't, but they're teaching kids to say hi to the teachers, say buenas tardes, to, you know, like, to actually greet. Because I will say, I've noticed that kind of value in Latin American society is declining a little bit, where kids don't want to say hi. But it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe because they see in videos that, you know, other countries don't do it, so they're like, why should I do it? I don't know. But I think it's good that they're, you know, giving them these values of, you know, learning to greet people, because it's a good social skill, first of all. Like, if you're able to greet someone, then theoretically you're able to start a conversation with them. But more than anything, having good values, like, gives you a good image, and it also starts showing you, like, a good path towards the future. And I think that's good. All well, hope you too. Everything is bueno. Muy bueno. We're good right now. We're gonna talk about a few more things. I'm gonna answer some of your thoughts in the chat. And then afterwards, I'm gonna go grab my meal for the weekend, for today, because I have not eaten yet today. Glad you could make it, Magnus. It's good to see you here. And yeah, right now we're talking about this whole rights situation and human rights. And really, like I said, I think you deserve to have something until you don't respect other people's right to have it as well. Especially when it comes to human rights. Like, if you're taking lives, then you have to be ready to have your life taken. I mean, that's just the way it is. But yeah. Let's see here. Well, no, I'm not going to start a goal today because, well, no, yeah, I actually do have to start a goal. The trip to Otavalo, remember, everyone, if you want to support, we are saving some money to go to Otavalo. I'm planning on making a video in Otavalo because member of the community, Netfreak. I hope if you're not here, I hope when you see this replay, always thinking of your generosity and the idea of going to Otavalo. So it's something that I want to do, and yeah, I've been saving up to try to make that happen. The money that was donated in the stream 2 streams ago, for that is saved. Like, I'm letting it just pile, so that way when I have enough, I can organize the trip, spend maybe a weekend there, show the way things are, and yeah, and hopefully have a good time. And show everyone the good time that you can have in Otavalo. Another thing that I did want to talk about, going into the extras of the stream, because the news for now, we're good. If you're here for more news, there's not much to talk about. But if you do want to, if you have a specific news that you want to talk about, leave it in the comments. Oh, Kathy, thank you very much. Thank you for the support. But I really appreciate it. Let's go. I can't wait for that Otavalo trip. I'm really curious about it myself. Members, by the way, I almost forgot to mention, for channel members, I have not yet made my post for this month, but I will be making it soon. I will be including a picture from my mom and dad's trip, and I will also have to post a short, maybe the full video of my dad's trip. Still not ready, still not something I'm doing yet, because right now, for anyone who watched my most recent video, my Puerto Viejo video, the best city in Ecuador, I hope you really enjoyed it. That video took me a lot to make, a lot of effort, more than anything. Wow, that video is my masterpiece right now. But future videos related to that video are in progress. If you've been following me on Instagram, I've been surveying for the best burger in Puerto Viejo. I will also be doing competitions for other foods. If you watched the Puerto Viejo video, you'll know which foods those are. But I will be touching up on a lot of the touristic aspects of the city. And yeah, I just really hope that it's something that you enjoy, something that lets you know a little bit more about the place, that has me ha visto crecer, that has seen me grow, as they say in Spanish. This has been the place that I've settled down in and have really come to love throughout the years that I've been here. It's unfortunate that I received some negativity in the comments of that video. People like telling me that that I'm lying, that it's not the best city. Like, more than anything, that video was subjective to what I feel why Puerto Viejo is like so great. Of course, everyone's gonna have different thoughts on the greatness of Puerto Viejo, but Puerto Viejo will always be an amazing city to me, and I really hope it's a city that more people consider visiting. If you haven't watched the video, I really, really, really recommend you watch it, and I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, I want to finish making the series of videos on this city, not just on the food, but that's the first focus, because one of the main things that people are going to love about the city is the food. But I will be making other videos in relation to Puerto Viejo. At least that's the plan for this month, for probably next month, and then afterwards we'll continue with other videos of other parts of Ecuador. Like I said, Otavalo is on the list, and spoiler, I do have Baños in mind, but that's probably going to have to wait until later on. Baños has always been like a goal of mine to go visit, but haven't had the chance. Have to separate myself a little bit from work and have the means to go to Baños and dedicate time to making a video over there, because I feel like holy grail cities to make videos in my mind are Vilcabamba, Baños, Loja, Quito, of course. I feel like there's one missing. Otavalo, Cuenca. Those are like the holy grail cities. Like, making those videos is like a higher level than the videos that I make maybe for other cities that I might visit in Ecuador. Of course, if I find a hidden gem included, I'll include it into these videos, but into these, like, this holy grail idea concept that I have. But those are the places that I mainly have in mind, the ones that like really me llaman la atención. In English, me llama la atención is like it draws my attention. I'm gonna write that expression, me llama la atención. Oh, I also want to make more videos about teaching Spanish. I do have plans to do that in the future, but they're videos that, like I said, they'll probably come after I make the video right now. Like I said, the ones of Puerto Viejo. Tenbai, Don had a video that touched on tipping. I actually have Ecuadorian friends that told me it's bad. If that's true, I don't know how I'll be able to stand not giving a tip to a hard-working person. You know, tipping culture is a weird thing here. I feel like recently in the city, it's becoming a little bit more common. A little bit more common. It's still not common, but a little bit more common. I would say, Tenbai, definitely view the way that you're treated. Like, just to give you an example, if you go into a restaurant and the person serves you, like, they give you the menu, they take your order, they attend you. If it's normal service, you realistically don't have to give a tip. If you want to, trust me, you give them $1 or $2, that is going to make that person super happy. If you want to go above and beyond, like maybe the service was really great, like every time you called them, they were there, or they were always paying attention and like serving you really good, really well, $5 would be amazing. Trust me, to that person. Give it to them directly though, because if they have a tip jar, sometimes that's divided between everyone, and if that person's the one that's serving you, then definitely give it to them. But definitely, I would say never go over $5 unless you're at a major restaurant. Think about a place in Ecuador. Just imagine it's the equivalent to, I honestly don't know if this is still a good place because some people have spoken poorly about it, but imagine a Red Lobster. But like a place like that, like a big indoor place, it has air conditioning. The people who are serving you, they have tablets, because I've actually seen a place like that over here. I was like, oh my god. But like imagine it has like all those bells and whistles, and you ordered food with your family or friends, I don't know, with a group of people, and the bill came out to like $100 for some reason. I don't know where you would spend $100. Well, I do know places, but like those are like top of the line, like really restaurants that you find inside of a shopping center, like a mall or el paseo shopping. Like if you spent $100 and like the service was really good, then you can consider giving like $10 tip. But try not to go over that. Never go over $10, because then it's gonna be expected, or I don't know, it's gonna be a fight. Like especially if you give it to like the staff, like if they have a tipping jar, like, oh, here's $20, the service was great. I don't know who's gonna get those $20. It might just go to the boss, and that's just not fair. Like if the boss gets like a percentage, okay, that's different. But like the person who's serving you, if that's the person you want to tip, give it to them directly, and they'll know what to do with it. But never go over $10. I feel like anything over $10 is too much. Like if it's like, maybe if you're like everyone is pitching in $2 tip, like that's different. But like if it's like from just you, $20, like no, too much. And in a place where you only spent $20, yeah, $2 is great. $2 is gonna be like, oh my goodness, the person is gonna be so happy, because that's like an encebollado right there. So yeah, that's my opinion on tipping. You can tip, just you have to be very cautious. Don't give money to beggars. Like in that case, I would definitely say no. But in tips, if it's small and it's not going to affect your bottom line, cool. What I will say is definitely the people who take care of your vehicle, like if you have a car or a motorcycle, give them something, 50 cents or $1, depending on how much time you were there. Let's just say you went into a store and you left your motorcycle or your car outside for like 2 hours, like you can give that person like $1. But if you just went in, you bought something really quick and came back out, 10 to 20 cents, 25 cents max is fine. Daniel, I remember being in a restaurant and the server was rude to someone, but they still wanted a tip and got it. If you're determined, you can always persuade someone, lol. I mean, that's always going to be the case. In fact, if you want to tip me, I'm not going to complain. No, but if you tip someone, like you have to, like, I would really only recommend you tipping someone who you know gave you excellent service. If they didn't, then I don't see the point. It just feels kind of like rewarding bad behavior almost. So I just don't think it's worth it, you know? Bernard, hello, how's it going? Buenas. My fear when I tip is that Ecuador will become like the US, where tips are expected and demanded. You know, I did have that fear, but I feel like if something like that happens, it's gonna happen way into the future. Like, I don't see that happening because people don't make enough money to tip in the first place. In a normal mom and pop's restaurant, let's just call it something like that, a small restaurant, there's no way tips are ever gonna be like such a big deal that it's gonna get to the level of the States. They're not even gonna be a thing. Like, if I go to a place where I spent maximum $5, the person is never gonna expect a tip unless the place is like I said, one of those indoor, like, modern places. If it's a little like place made of caña, of cane, you're not gonna. There's no way they're gonna be expecting a tip. So if you give them 50 cents, they're just gonna be happy about it. If you give them $1, they're just gonna be happy, and it's not like they're gonna expect it from everyone, because they know everyone's not gonna do that. There's not anyone who can do that on a frequent basis. At most, like let me put it to you like this: with my salary, which, like I've said before, like, it's under 500 right now because I'm only working one job. It's actually under 400. If I were to tip, the max I'd ever be able to give is like $1, and I would have to have spent at least $5 to $10 and over an hour at that place, and the service had to have been really good. And even then, I would think about it because it's just not normal. It's not normal in a city like where I'm at to give a tip. If you go to a big city like Quito or Guayaquil, that are much bigger than the city I'm in, then maybe you might find more places that expect tips. But even then, you wouldn't have to tip more than like I said, $2, because it's like you're still not gonna spend over like $10 on your meal, unless you're going into one of those fancy restaurants. But like I said, that's just a whole different level. In a fancy restaurant, by yourself, you're not spending over $30. And even if you spend $30, I'd be like, what are you eating to spend $30? Then again, I don't know a lot of pricing in terms of like alcohol, so I could see someone going to a place to eat. They order a $15 meal, because you can find those. Maybe like big sirloin, really nice meal. And then afterwards, they buy themselves, like, I don't know, a bottle of wine that cost them like $10. So they ended up spending $25. And because the wine wasn't enough, they're like, okay, I'll buy some juice, and it cost them another $3. Maybe they bought an appetizer, another like $5 to $10. So let's just assume at the total they spent $30 to $35. In a case like that, I could see you tipping like $5. And that's still a lot in my mind. But like, I could see someone tipping that much. So, you know, just thoughts. Daniel, thank you very much. I appreciate the dono. Te lo agradezco. Muchísimas gracias. I wonder how the current detention situation in the US will affect the World Cup attendance. I could have sworn that there were talks about them not wanting to do the World Cup in the States because of the situation of the tensions and such. But I really hope that that's not the case. Because I know there's a lot of people who want to go to the States for the World Cup. And I think it would be really cool. I'm hoping it doesn't affect the attendance. It wouldn't make sense for it to, because, well, in the sense that, like, the States would have to, like, chill with the detentions. Because they can't just, like, see tourists and be like, okay, we're going to detain you. That'd be crazy. That would be a really crazy thing to see happen. But yeah. So I don't know, is there anything, any questions, anything else you would like to talk about? If not, then I think the stream for today is good. Like I said, future plans, we are going to continue with the Puerto Viejo videos. That will last at least another month or two. What else? These live streams, I will be doing them, like I said before, every 2 weeks. If you'd like this to be a weekly thing, let me know. It would have to be something that I could support weekly as well. I'm hoping to have guests, like I've talked about before. Just I need to organize their time because I make time for them, but I don't want to take time away from people. So it's definitely something that depends on everyone involved. What else? I feel like there was something else I was going to mention. Well, I mean, if you saw this little lamp that I have here, this is a little lamp. Something that I bought from a friend who he sells things at anime events. And he had this, they told me about it, him and his cousin. They told me that, hey, you know, we know you like Luffy, we know you like Gear 5 Luffy, so we have this lamp, do you want to buy it? Like, we'll leave it, we'll set it aside for you. And I was like, yeah, please, let me know. And I bought it. I really like it. It's really light, lighter than it looks. I'm really cautious with it. But yeah, just one of my new additions to my collection of Gear 5 Luffy things. Tenbai, Jesus said, give to those who ask. I lived in Asia for 10 years, and there were so many beggars. I never gave money, but I always offered to purchase food. That's a good thing to do. Maybe 1 in 5 would accept, and I knew they were hungry. I always purchased them a meal, and I found out I was the safest man in the public market. They watched out for me for years. That's amazing. If I could heart your comment, like I would. That's truly a kind thing of you to do. This reminds me of something. I didn't want to mention it because it's not even a big deal. It's just something that I did once, and I didn't post it anywhere, not even to members, because I don't think I posted it to the members, because I just felt like it was just something that I wanted to do because I wanted to do it. Maybe I did mention it, but there was this lady I once saw. She walked by where I live, and she was selling fruits and vegetables, you know, a typical lady that you could recognize from like the Highlands, that was selling like vegetables. And she had her kid, like her baby, and it was really admirable to see that someone was out in an economy that I feel is already tough, doing something that I feel is extra tough. And I see this a lot with people who sell things on carts and everything, but for her, it was just even more so, like I said, because she was with a little kid. So one day when I went out to buy ice cream randomly, and I saw her pass by the ice cream store. So I immediately went out. I asked her, "Oh, hi, buenas. Would you like some ice cream?" And she was like, "Yes, please, thank you." And I'm like, "Yeah, what flavor would you like?" And she was like, "Any flavor." I'm like, "Okay, I'll get you a chocolate one. Is that good?" And she was like, "Yeah." So I went in. I bought her the ice cream. I bought the other ice cream that I was gonna buy. I gave her the ice cream. She was super thankful. She was like, "God bless you," and she was really happy that I gave her that ice cream. And I felt like, I know it's not a big deal. I know it's not like a huge contribution or anything like of the sort, but I just kind of wanted to make her day a little bit different, because I can imagine if I were in her position, like doing the same thing every day, hoping to make enough to make ends meet. Technically I am, but with my own work. But like in her position with the kid and everything, I was like, I wanted to make her day a little bit different, make it a little bit special. So I got her that ice cream, and she was happy about it. I didn't ask for things. I didn't even ask for a picture, because I could have just asked her, "Hey, can we take a picture?" And I could have posted it, but I was like, no. It felt too self-serving if I would have taken a picture. So I just wanted to give her that to make her day. Similarly, another situation that I don't remember if I mentioned it, but this was separate from someone working. It was just a day that someone was stuck, I guess you could say, because their car ran out of gas. And the guy, like, I went to go help them push the car, and he asked me if I could help him getting gasoline. I'm like, yeah, of course. So I went to go fill up the gasoline. I came back, I gave him the gasoline. He's like, "Hey, can I give you anything for that?" I'm like, "No, just if one day you ever see my dad's business," and I told him about my dad's business, like, "Stop by." I don't know if he ever did, but like honestly, I just wanted to help. Like, it was just something that I wanted to do. So I always like hearing stories about when people like help someone, and I like it how, like, in this case, like, they watched out for you, because it's really sweet. It shows that there are people who are really grateful for the things that you do, and like they don't have to be like, you don't have to expect gratitude. I feel when you do a good deed, it's just like you do it because it te nace. We say in Spanish, it's born from you. That expression is very Spanish, te nace, because in English it does not sound the same. It comes to you, but yeah, te nace, and like you just feel like you want to give that help so that that person can have like maybe a better day, maybe a better situation, a better life. But yeah, I really admire that Tenbai. So I hope if you're here, if you tip, just don't go overboard with it, because like I said, people will come to expect it in a way that's not like, it's not good for them. I guess you could say it's not good for the, in general, for the people who see that. And it could, in people who see it, could be like, oh, he's tipping a lot, he's got money, we should see where he lives. I don't know. I just worry about things that we hear about a lot. Like, just to give you a random example of worrying, I was actually I almost forgot I was going to tell you this story. Before I started the stream, I wasn't planning on doing this, but like my friend, he sent me a message, he said, hey, what are you doing at 1? I'm like, oh, nothing, at 1 I'm not doing anything. And he's like, hey, do you want to accompany me? I'm going to sell something and I don't want to go by myself. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I accompanied him and we went to the shopping. We went in a little group. And imagine, the shopping is like a very public place. And for you to worry about something to the point where you want to bring more people and in a public place, it goes to show that you can't be overconfident with certain things. And it's a good thing too that he's a cautious person, because the person never showed up. And the person was sending him a message like, hey, you know, I can't make it. My wife can't make it either, apparently his wife. And he said, I'm going to send someone. You give them the bank account number and I'll transfer you the money. And then afterwards, you give him the things and he'll bring them to me. And that was super sus, because that's a way that people, you hear around the grapevine, that if they don't meet you in person and if they want to send someone and they want to do a transfer to when you want to sell them something, like in this kind of setting where it's like a private sale, like it's like una estafa. It's like a, how would you call it? How would you call it in English? They're trying to rip you off. Basically, they'll do the transfer, like maybe they'll transfer you the money, whatever it costs, like let's just say $50, and then afterwards, okay, I got the transfer, you see that you got it, you're like, okay, cool. So you give them the thing, and then afterwards, an hour later, that transfer gets revoked, because the person reports it like, oh, hey, this happened, blah, blah, blah. So you end up losing your money, and you end up losing the thing. So it's a way that people use to rip you off. So, you know, you have to be very cautious with certain transactions here. And I know that's kind of a tangent, but it's just a reminder of, like, you know, being cautious with certain things. And if you come here and you're generous, I think that's great. Just be very cautious with what you do, you know. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I know I go off on a lot of tangents. That was a story I was going to tell anyways, but, you know. If you have any more thoughts, please let me know. If not, I think we're good for today. I'm glad to know, at least with the headphones, I can actually speak and the stream works. I'm glad that the stream isn't crashing, because last week the reason we couldn't show the information on screen, last 2 weeks now, we couldn't show the information on screen because it was wigging out. The laptop was just not collaborating. That's why now with this one, it seems like we can at least stream and show information. I probably can't show videos yet because this might be better than the toaster, but it will probably heat up like a toaster if I try to play a video on it. So yeah, if there are no more thoughts, thank you very much everyone for making it to the stream. Kathy, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the donation as well, for helping out with the goal to make it to Otavalo. Same thing with Daniel. Thanks for the dono. Steve, I don't know if you're still here. 10, I appreciate your comments. Daniel, again, thank you for being here. Magnus, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for being here. And of course, channel members, if you see this or if you're here, thank you for making it to the stream. Everyone who took the time to listen to me give you a little bit of news and a little bit of updates and, you know, just talk. I appreciate you being here. We'll see each other again, most likely in about 2 weeks. Hopefully I have a video out before that. I don't know if we'll be able to make the burger video by this week, but I definitely want to have it done ASAP, because I want the series of videos to come out as frequently as possible. Like weekly if possible would be great, but that would be really tough unless we do minor edits only, but we'll see. So yeah, take care everyone. Thank you for making it today. Have an excellent rest of your Sunday. Have an excellent rest of your weekend. 10, thank you. I enjoyed your live. I would like to see you with Don if possible. I love that grumpy old man. I'm hoping he joins one of the streams soon, because we had talked about it. So I just have to see how his time is, you know, working out. But yeah, thank you for making it. Have an excellent rest of your day. And as always, Ace out.